Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching us today. Welcome to the Legacy Builders series on Babes Redefined. I'm your very host again, Hannah Jolayemi, and I'm here with you tonight as we carry on with our series. And tonight we're going to be having a very close babe sister. And she's one of our leaders, our founding members, and we're going to have her tonight like we've done in the last few days. We've had over a week and a half now. We've been having our founding members who have been sharing inspiring stories. I'm your host, Hannah Jolayemi, and I do welcome and I'm thrilled to have everyone on tonight's series of the Legacy Builders. So if you're new to Babes Redefined, Babes is a community that empowers women both spiritually, physically, economically, and physically in every area. It creates a supportive environment for women to thrive and grow. So if you're new and you're wondering who we are and what we do, there's a lot more information on our social media platform. Babes Redefined stands for Beautiful, Adorable, Blessed, Empowered, and Saved. So we're a group of Christian women, believers, who in every area we're thriving. So tonight we're going to carry on with our series. Like I said, in the light of our 15th anniversary celebration, we have been celebrating across the country. If you're not aware, we've had celebrations in the US, in UK, and Canada. Now Nigeria is gearing up for Port Harcourt, Abuja, and Lagos. So please do well to join us in this. And so on the series of Legacy Builders, we are using this time to also interview our founding leaders to share their story, their journey. And 15 years is a long time, if I must say, and they have contributed in diverse ways. And tonight we're going to be having one of our babes called Babes Dolakbo Conte. I'm delighted to have her this evening, and I'm going to tell us a bit about her. Some of us, we've known her for a while. Some people maybe more than 10 years. But just in case you don't know, I'm going to tell you a little bit about her before I invite her to the platform. I'm really, really excited. I don't know whether you are. So as many people, please try and join, share it with other babes on different campuses, and let them be a part of tonight's inspiring stories. Okay, Dr. Oluwadolapo Conte is an experienced professional with over 16 years of banking experience, spanning relationship management in both commercial and retail sector. She is skilled in credit analysis structuring, customer-focused selling, and accounting and financial reporting. Dolapo is a strong sales professional with excellent business acumen. She holds a DVN degree from the University of Ibadan and is a CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst, fellow of the Association of Chartered Certified Accountant, UK FCCA. She is also a Chartered Professional Accountant, CPA Canada. In spite of having all this background in medical sciences, she has proved her worth in the financial sector. She started her career in Access Bank PLC, where she spent about 4 years, and she later moved to the First Bank in 2012, where she worked until February 2021. Whilst at First Bank, Dr. Dolapo worked in branches as a relationship manager, where she brought key relationship and businesses to the bank. She's currently the Vice President of the Relationship Management Payments at JP Morgan Chase Canada. Dr. Conte has won a number of awards over the course of her career and in all the areas: best in banking and finance, School of Banking Excellence 2008, and a whole lot of achievement. Dolapo has volunteered in so many endeavors as well, and she was a mentor at the Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship. She serves as a global head of Workforce Babes Redefined, and she also owns a blog that she also shares her opinion on basic life issues. So tonight, she's happily married and with lovely children. And tonight, I would like to welcome you to the platform, Dolapo. It's lovely to have you. You've been on the other end. Tonight, you're on the hot seat. So we are glad to have you tonight. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Dolapo to the series of the Legacy Builders tonight.
Thank you so much. Hear me, sis. Yes, I can hear you
I know
loud
it's a different time. I don't know whether it's morning now or
it's afternoon. It's about 8 p.m. here. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on board. today,
Awesome.
taking a seat before as the host and then being a guest on the platform. I'm
Yes.
humbled to be here, and I'm grateful for the opportunity as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Rizolapo. Like I said, I think it feels a bit different, isn't it? You've been the one
Yes,
giving the questions. So now
absolutely.
we're the one going to be asking you. And I think it's nice to have you. You've been a part of Babes Refine for a number of years. And the first question we ask is, how did you join?
Yeah,
How
so
did
I
you join?
actually went on a research yesterday to
Mhm.
make sure that because I just had a faint idea of how I joined. I
Mhm.
know clearly well that Pimo had added me, but Facebook told me that she added me exactly November 30, 2010. So I might have joined just a few weeks after
Wow.
BR started, right? But I
Awesome.
know that I wasn't, really, really active in that sense
Mhm.
in leadership until about
Yes.
2015 when I had to
Mhm.
join WhatsApp group. So before 2015, I was on of course, we were all on the Facebook group until 2014. And so before then, it was just me going on the
Mhm.
Facebook group and trying to get along with
Mhm.
contribute to whatever was being shared on the Facebook group. And I did enjoy, that period for me was a learning period. So I did enjoy
Yeah.
all the content, that was shared
Mhm.
on
Yes.
motherhood, on marriage.
Mhm.
I just got
Yeah.
married as well because I got married in 2009. So it was just 1 year into my marriage, and it was, really exciting sharing a lot of
Wow.
things of like mind. Yeah. So
Wow.
that's
Awesome.
practically how I joined.
Yeah. So right from the beginning, so you've
Yes,
come a long way.
yes, yes, yes,
That's
absolutely.
it's really lovely to know. And like I said, we've had a lot of babes we've interviewed and very similar story. Like they were, right from the start from 2010. So and like I said, you've contributed in your own way, for that number of years. So what role did you play, obviously, in shaping Babes Who Defined in the early days? It'd be
Yeah,
interesting to know.
yeah, like I said earlier, in the early days, I would say from 2010,
Mhm.
thereabouts, all I just used to do then was to contribute in my own way to
Way.
post on the Facebook group, right?
All right.
I made valuable contributions in terms of providing advice when advice
Mhm.
was needed. I was also involved in, the prayer meetings and all of that we held on the Facebook group at that time.
Okay.
I remember so many times I did go to the Facebook group because I was also a new mother, right? I just wanted
Yes.
to know,
Mhm.
what I needed, some advice, some consultations
Mhm.
on, my new role as a mother and
Of
how
course.
to, survive all of the pressures that come with being
New
a mother.
experience.
Exactly, as well as
Yeah.
being a working mother at that
Mhm.
time. So I practically, learned from the retinue of knowledge from the post and the
Yes.
comment during that period. Up
Mhm.
until 2015, when I had my
Mhm.
last child, I had my last
Mhm.
child around April of 2015.
Mhm.
That was when I started becoming more committed because I was then added during my maternity leave to the
You're
WhatsApp
all
group,
right. So you had more
right?
time.
Yes, I had enough time. I was on mat leave for like about
Yes.
4 months. So I was
Wow.
added to the WhatsApp group and I would always
Mhm.
go to the WhatsApp group. It was so nice,
Yeah.
sharing with a smaller group of women, that
Yeah.
know you. And I made valuable contributions on the WhatsApp group during that time. And of course,
Okay.
I was noticed by the ZC, Babes
Mhm.
Ibuwa, and she did invite me for the first bonding. That was my very first bonding. I think
Oh.
around May, I brought my baby to the bonding with
Oh. Yeah.
Ikeja son then.
I was just
And
gonna ask because you've
yeah,
been mentioning. I was like, what particular in Lagos? Yeah.
yeah,
What was
it
your
was Lagos.
zone at the
It was
time?
it was Ikeja zone. It was Lagos
Okay.
Ikeja zone. So I did join their first bonding, and I really felt wanted. I felt the community of women.
Yeah.
I felt some level of acceptance, right? And
Mm.
it was really nice from after then because I was able to put a face to the names, right? It wasn't
Yes.
just like people, virtual
That was
people, like
faceless.
business people as it was on WhatsApp. So, but we did have a very nice time. I brought my baby
Mhm.
then, and everybody,
Mhm.
bonded with my last
Oh.
born then, and it was really nice. I really had a nice time. And then after that, Babes ID reached out to me just a few months after then that she was handing over and I was going to become the ZC. Boom, just like that.
Yeah.
Wow, I
Responsibility.
just joined this group and everything. And she was like,
Mm.
oh, God is saying that you're the one to take the group from, where
Wow.
it is right now to the future. And I was like,
Mm.
wow. Um, there's something about me. I always try as much as possible not to refuse service, right? If I'm given
Mm.
that opportunity,
Of
because
course.
all through my life, I've, experienced growth as a result of
Mm.
volunteering myself, even for some services that I, consider myself not able, not enough. I don't have the
Mm.
ability to do. And I can tie every one of those, service events, service to
Yes.
God,
Mm-hmm.
to certain transitions in my life, to
Mm.
testimonies that I can point
Wow.
out to.
Yeah.
And right from school, I one
Mm.
thing I did mention was I'd known Pimo, of course. Pimo added me because I've known her right from school, from UIDs. I
Okay.
was a member of Verses of Honor Foundation, which was set up
Ah.
by Pastor Dili Oshimakide, our
Okay.
husband. I remember those days in school, in fellowship. It was because as a veterinary student in
Mm-hmm.
school, everybody knows that we have very busy life, very, very busy schedule.
Yes.
So combining that with any other thing was really
Mm-hmm.
difficult. But
Yeah.
I did remember that during my 400 level, that was when I volunteered, to lead, certain um, endeavors. I was a member of the ed school in fellowship and all of that. It was so funny because I had a triangle life. It was just to class, to the library, and back
First,
to
and
my
then.
hostel, right? And then having to do something else and having to
Mm.
fit that in my busy schedule. So I did
Yeah.
remember all of that. And I can tell you that 400 level was when I had like my best results in vet school. I actually had
Wow.
almost all my distinctions. I had four distinctions. I had all my distinctions in 400 level,
In that
despite the fact that I had to
you had
lead
a
fellowship. I had
commitment.
to lead the outreach
Mm.
units in fellowship then. So I just wanted to give you an example of,
Yeah.
the experiences I've had in terms of
Mm.
serving God.
Mm.
Every time I decide to volunteer for an endeavor, God
Yeah.
had something to me and seen
Mm.
testimony in my life. Every promotion that I've had, I can tie
Mm.
to a particular obedience to serving God
In
in a
that
particular
season.
area, no matter how difficult it is for me at that time.
Mm.
So when Babes ID did reach out to me,
Yes.
so I felt that I'm one kind of person that I'm like, I just want to be at the back, just doing things. I don't want to be at
And
the
you watch,
front.
observe.
I don't want to be the one accountable for it because
Yes.
anything I do, I always lead with excellence. I just want
Mm.
like that touch of excellence because I
Of
feel
course.
that I'm ultimately responsible for it at
Mm.
the end of the day. So I would
Yes.
rather not be there rather than it
Mm-hmm.
failure. So when she called me to it, I knew that wow, God was setting me up for something
Mm.
else. And I
Yes.
obeyed, and here we had to be. I
Yeah.
remember we had to lead, Ikeja to an higher height. We had
Mm-hmm.
very beautiful times in Ikeja.
Wow.
Zone. We had restructuring. We had to put
Mm.
in, specific programs and activities in
Mm.
place. We had to put in specific, outreach endeavors
Yeah.
to make sure that every base was being reached out to in one way or the other. Because
Okay.
as we
Okay.
noticed, there's always, some gaps in reaching out to our babes on the
Mm-hmm.
group. Although you think that you're reaching out to people, there's some people that are actually more vocal, some
Than the
silent
other.
babes, we call them.
Yes.
We needed to put in things, in place,
Mm-hmm.
like different units in place during that time. And it was
Wow.
really exciting
Mm.
working alongside,
Mm-hmm.
babes in the Ikeja zone during that time. So from being a ZC in Ikeja, I worked along with babes nearly as a
Okay.
co-ZC as well. From being a
Mm.
ZC, I also was involved in a lot of endeavors on the national side. I
Yes.
I think I co-chairman the BR anniversary for the 10th anniversary. I
And
remember
okay. Yeah, that's
co-chair
5 years ago.
that
Yeah.
10th anniversary, and a lot of other things that I had to do at the national level before I eventually became a member of the advisory board. It was
Mm.
the same thing. PMO reaching out to me after I handed over at ZC, and then
Yes.
because I had to move, I had to relocate to Canada at
All right.
that time. And then she reaching out to me and saying, I want you to be a member of the advisory board. And I was like,
Mm.
why me? Because I feel that the transition was supposed to be from being a ZC. Of course, you have
Yeah,
to be a GC,
of
and all of
course.
that.
Yeah.
And then
Mm-hmm.
boom, she says you have to be. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we want you to be a member of the advisory board. Pray about it. And here we are. God has been so faithful. He has
Yes,
helped us,
yeah.
to lay strategic, to build, the strategic. The strategy of
Mm-hmm.
PR on a whole to put in structures in that sense and work
That's right.
alongside PIMO in delivering what we know as BR today. I
Today.
can therefore, help. I would say I've done anything all by myself.
Mm.
Also becoming from being a member of the advisory board to being assigned as a head of workforce and head of BR operations in general in terms of leading the workforce. It's been so exciting all the
Yeah.
way with its challenges and everything. I
Yeah.
would trade it for any other thing. It's been a
Mm.
wonderful experience.
Wow, that's incredible. Like just listening to you, I'm like, yeah, I got to know you probably, yeah, 4 years into obviously joining BR is 5 years altogether. But yeah, I was like, Baby Zolakpo, obviously without you even telling you, but we see you and we see what you do. So, and your contribution. And thank you for that. It's really incredible to hear the process, right? And it's a journey, for a lot of people who have started with BR right from the inception. You could see that everybody, started at some point, and you keep growing and evolving. And I think, like you said, sometimes getting to where we are today, it's not a journey that just started. It had started way before then. And like you said, you're that person who, when you're in it, and you give it your 100%. And we could see that, I think you have this work ethic, that, you get things bam, bam, bam. Okay, let's do this, let's do that. And I think we all have different personalities and what we bring to the table. And I think that's the beauty of BR. And like you said, you have worked with a lot of women from different walks of life. Everybody's got their skill, and all of that is being brought to the table. And this is what we are seeing today, women who have sacrificed their time, their skill, their talent, everything they've brought to the table. And we are benefiting from that as well. So thank you. Actually, very lovely journey as you've described. But thank you. And obviously, you've mentioned your impacts, some of the things you've shared about Ikeja. And I'm sure Ikeja now is probably not just one, again, we're in campus. I don't know how many campuses we have in Ikeja. So I'm sure from that one zone as now, because again, it's quite big, isn't it? Yeah. So that's also beautiful. And I'm sure Ikeja babes, you're listening. So in case you're wondering who was the first, some of the first founder leaders for the campus. So you hear that now with Solakbo. So now you're in Canada, and I'm sure obviously again you've tried to also bring together people within Canada as well. I know the nature of the side of whether US or UK
Yeah.
can be a bit challenging, but at least as much as we can see it be of your work as well with Canada Babes. So thank you very much. In terms of the vision and mission, again across the number of days we've been having this series, we've said that the vision and mission is still the same, but then we've evolved over the years. So what I wanted to ask was what role, again, you probably had mentioned as you were, sharing just a few minutes ago, what are the roles that you played? Were there anything else apart from that you probably remember? Anything significant, how we've evolved over
Over
the
the
years.
I would say BR has really transitioned, first of all, from being just
Mhm.
an online group, a community of women coming together to share ideas,
Mhm.
different stages of growth, learning from each other,
Yeah.
right? I told you when I joined BR, I just got married, right?
Mhm.
So some people that have been married before me, like 5 years into marriage. So you're
Yes,
learning instead of having to make the same mistakes like those people made early in their marriages,
that's right.
you're learning from people's experience, right? You're building
Absolutely.
a body of knowledge. And that was
Mm.
what PR did for most of us in the early years. And
Mm.
the truth is, some of us may not really know the impact because we got born again, before we got
Mm.
married, we got born
Yes.
again in school. There are a lot of people that,
Mm.
were not even Christians at that time, right?
Yeah.
And they were already in different stages of life in terms of their
Mhm.
marriage as a woman and
That's
all
right.
of that. But, coming together as women, just as women, that's held all of us together.
Mm.
Whether and one thing about BR is not just attending to married women. We're attending to
Yes.
every woman in every
Yes.
stage of life you might be.
Sure.
And that's one unique thing about BR that is quite
Mm.
different from most of the female groups you see around. So
That's
we're not
correct. Mm.
focusing on a specific demographic. We're
That's
saying
right.
all women. What
Yeah.
unites us is women, right? And it's
That's
the
right.
totality of the woman again. So it's
Mm.
not just a woman's spiritual,
Yeah.
self. It's
Mm.
more of your physical,
That's right.
emotional, taking care
That's
of
right.
also your social skills, helping you to
Mhm.
develop the right social skills, helping you to also develop, entrepreneurial skills, your
That's right.
career,
Yeah.
and all of that, putting all of that together and the totality, focusing on the totality of a woman in general. So we've been able to evolve over the years from building those community of women coming together and
Mm.
sharing that body of knowledge to
Yeah.
building smaller communities, like getting
Mm.
them close. And because they're in smaller communities, they're able to attend to issues that are peculiar to that particular
That,
location,
that's
that
correct. Yeah.
particular community. Like someone in
Mm.
London may not be
Mhm.
able to, whatever happens in Nigeria might not really appeal to them because it's a
That's
different
right.
environment. It's also the same thing as being in the north, the
Mhm.
part of Nigeria, or being in the western
Mhm.
part of Nigeria. So you're able
True.
to aggregate women with similar situations together, and they're able to meet in smaller groups. That was another
Mm.
phase for us. And then we moved
Mhm.
from that phase to not just addressing babes, as it were, to going
Yes.
outside to make a social impact, to
Reach out. Yeah.
reach out to
Mhm.
other women, right? And we are not
Mm.
just reaching out as a general body, we are now
Mhm.
reaching out in smaller groups to all the smaller communities, right?
Yeah.
And so having all of these WhatsApp groups, and
Mhm.
every year would have, what we call an outreach. Every zone,
Mhm.
as it is
Yes.
called then, or campuses now, is supposed to have at
Mhm.
least one or two outreaches in a year. We normally have
Yeah.
outreaches in August. And with
Mhm.
those outreaches, we're able to reach out to students, young girls,
Mhm.
we're able to
Yeah.
reach out to even women, like
Mm.
those we're able to reach out to uh,
Yes.
divorces, women in challenge relationships. We're able to
Mm.
reach out to those that are sick and they need,
Mhm.
help
Yeah.
in terms of the medicals and all of
Mhm.
that. And it's
Yes.
been an exciting journey, I tell you. And then we
Yes.
also now move from just reaching out to smaller communities to
Mhm.
setting up what we call Project Esther, that now reaches
Yeah.
out to young girls, and that is
Mm.
being handled by BR Nation, at
Condition.
the
Yeah.
top. And all we
That's
just
right.
need is support. With the support of all our babes from all the different campuses, we were able
Mhm.
to set out, the BR initiative that
Yeah.
champions this initiative every year. And we
Yes.
reach out to young girls. We're able to set them up in terms of, skills, add on new skills to them, get facilitators to help them to build these handy work skills.
Yeah.
Besides that, also helping them in terms of their emotional self, their
Mhm.
spirit, the soul, attending to their spirit, their soul, and their bodies as well, right? Generally
Awesome.
helping to set these young girls on a good
Yeah.
foundation for the future,
Mhm.
right? It's
Beautiful.
been an exciting experience. I'm sure that if you
Mm.
go on our social media pages, you'll see
We
a
would see a
lot
lot of that. Yeah.
of that we are the BR
Mhm.
is on our Instagram page, and it shows
Mhm.
a lot of those things that we've pushed out over the years, and that we are even
Mhm.
still working on
Mhm.
pushing out and partnering with other organizations to
As
deliver.
well.
So
Yeah.
that is where BR is right now, and
Mhm.
yeah, I'm going to talk about the future later, but
No, no worries. We
all
definitely come to that.
yes, in terms of
Yeah.
how we've evolved, that's how we've evolved over the years.
Yeah, and it's beautiful to hear. And not just you mentioning it, we've had other babes who've interviewed. I'm sure you must also, they said similar that, the grounds that BR had covered, there are a lot of women group. And, what's peculiar about BR is the fact that, like you mentioned, is not just setting women, it's women. So what you identify as, you're a believer and you're a woman. So whether divorced, whether married, you're single, you're widowed, you find your place. You'll be able to, your needs are met,
Yeah.
and everything to do with a woman, the wholeness, awesomeness of a woman. So
Yeah.
like I said, all the programs that we have yearly as well is geared towards addressing those needs. And
Mhm.
like I said, we have business people among us, career people have set out their own, whatever they were called to do, even in the midst of serving, they've been able to set up. So it's beautiful. And like I said, sometimes can we really quantify the
Mm.
impact if we were to talk about numbers? And I think
Wow.
the babes we interviewed the other day said, not because we've got reporting, we have our reporting tools of all the things we've done, but then if we have to really, really sit down and think about the impact, counting numbers, we might not be able to, because one
Mhm.
person, families are touched, are reached, and all of that. So we thank God for how far God has brought BR. So thank you for that. What have been some of the most significant challenges? And I'm sure if you look back, again, babes all have shared their experiences, and I'm sure you probably have one or two that is most similar that you faced
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
early days, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I think the first thing would be for me. I think Babe Zuchi really touched on that during our session as well. I'll
Yes.
just just
Yeah.
touch on some things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what I remember clearly was managing conflict. Right,
Mm-hmm.
managing conflict was, of course, for me. I was just pushed into leadership very early, so managing conflicting personalities on the group was kind of
Mm-hmm.
tough, right, for me. And when I say managing conflicts, it's not
Mm-hmm.
like those people are not good people, right?
Yeah.
It's just that they think things should be done in a different
A
way
different
than
way.
it is,
Yes.
right? And where some people are, willing to take advice, they're willing to take
Mm,
themselves. Some people are not, and because we're also at different stages of growth in life,
that's right.
right? So as a
Mm,
leader, I, had to manage those conflicting personalities. I remember
mm,
so many times, some babes will reach out to me and say that, ZC, you need to put your feet down. You need to, and I just smile. I'm like, these people, you don't really know me. If you know me,
mm,
me,
mm,
I actually
mm,
can put my
mm.
feet down. But the
Yeah.
truth is that we want things to move on. We do not want
Mm.
to lead a group that will scatter at the end of the day. And
Exactly.
every group goes through dynamics, different
Mm.
dynamics, different group dynamics. We have, of course, the numbing stage where
Yes.
people really don't know what they're doing. Everybody's just there trying to find their feet. And then
Mm-hmm.
you have the storming where
Storming down. Mhm.
now different
Mm.
personality clashes.
Yeah.
Some people want to be heard, some people. So every group goes through that. So
That.
when
Yeah.
you understand those dynamics, uh,
Mm-hmm.
you're able to use that to your advantage to get
True.
to, the performing stage where the group now starts to work and function on its own. And so it was a good conflict. For
Mm-hmm.
me, it was just a learning ground. I think BR for me was a totally training ground, right?
Yeah.
I learned to relate with people from different
Mm-hmm.
background, different, and I had to learn patience. I had to learn endurance. I had to learn long suffering, and I
Yeah.
had to learn how to communicate clearly, right? So
Mm.
that it's not just me saying something and the person getting something else
A
from the other side.
different, a
And
different
it's always,
perspective.
yes, and it's always very difficult getting this
Mm.
done on the kind of platform that we
It
had,
was an online. Yeah.
WhatsApp, especially, and then Facebook, when you had to
Mm.
type and
Mm.
the meaning of whatever you typed in is
Mm.
lost to whoever is receiving it,
That's
right?
right.
So that usually happens because you don't have the opportunity of explaining yourself. The body
Yeah.
language is not there. So
Yeah.
you're saying something else, and this other person is
Somebody's
getting
reading a complete different meaning.
the other. Yeah.
Mm.
So you have to learn patience because
Mm.
when there's a reaction and it's not the kind of reaction you
You want
want, you now need to stay back and understand, why am I getting this reaction,
That's
right?
right.
And then you need to know the next steps. And with the help of God, I think a lot of it was, asking God for help.
Yeah.
It wasn't just me doing it,
Mm.
taking the steps that I was taking. It was just God aligning my steps, giving me direction on how to go about, merging all of these personalities and helping them to work together as one. And so on the group we had, I remember that some people
Mm.
used to complain about cliques, right?
Mm.
I saw cliques
Which
of
is
women
typical.
just wanting validation, and
Yes.
some women, because they had very strong personalities and they're able
Mm-hmm.
to galvanize people to themselves, right? They're
Yes.
able to galvanize other people to themselves. So I didn't
That's
see
right.
it as a bad thing.
Yeah.
I would use those cliques to drive
Mm-hmm.
things on the group rather than, demonizing them, rather than saying,
Mm.
oh, these are cliques. They don't want anybody
Mm.
to be. I just see people,
Mhm.
that wants, that want to get things done in a certain way. And then they have
Yes.
other people, with them that like the way
Mhm.
they do things. So
That's right.
I
You
took
use that
myself
to your
out of it. Yeah,
advantage. Yeah.
exactly. I use that to
Mm.
my advantage. So instead of demonizing them, these are people
Mm.
that I need them to lead certain
Mm.
initiatives on the group. So
Yeah.
I'm saying, okay, so can you get your people together to do this? And you
Yes.
would not believe those things
Mm.
got done and they were
Mm.
fantastically delivered, right?
Yeah.
Because we tend to like come together to just understand the fact that we can all one person cannot be friends with everybody. People would
Absolutely.
always find, yeah. So we
Yes.
need to understand this as leaders. So I think
Mm.
that those were some of those things I went through in the initial stage, and then we're able to
Mm.
overcome it. We're able to all just work together and
Yeah.
understand ourselves. And then there was also the issue of finances, at a point, because
Mhm.
of course we're not all graced alike. There will
Yes.
always be some people that would be able
Mhm.
to contribute,
That's right.
to certain endeavors more than others. And
Mhm.
there will be some people that would always be needy, right? That would always
Mm.
need help
Also,
and all of
yeah.
that. So as a leader, I had to step in. And then it takes understanding those people that you're leading and understanding the kind of challenges that they had.
True.
So I took, a step forward, not just addressing people as
Mm.
just names on the WhatsApp group. I had to
Yes.
reach out personally, to most of
Mm.
these people that were members of the group. And that was when I also had to recruit other people. Like, we need to make sure that we're reaching out to people, right?
That's
We're not
right.
just
Yes.
sending stuff on the group and then expecting those people to engage.
To
When
respond.
yeah,
Yeah.
when somebody is not responding, when somebody is not, has not been seen for a while, then we need to all go all house and call them on the phone. If
Exactly.
possible, if
Yeah.
we're all in the same community, if possible, pay them a visit. In
That's right.
Nigeria, it's not like the way it is in Canada, where you can pay
Mm-hmm.
people an unscheduled visit. But in Nigeria, there was nothing wrong with like going to visit people if you've not heard from them in a while. So we had
Yes.
to take all those responsibilities. Uh,
Mm.
to know those people that you're leading, it actually goes a long
Yes.
way. So you're not angry when somebody is not able to contribute, because you tend to
Mm.
understand where they're
That's
coming
it.
from or the challenges that they
Absolutely.
are going through. And you also know who needs to be taken care of, right? Which is
Correct.
very important. The welfare of the group was top notch for us. And I think that was what, endeared a lot of babes, to the group,
Mhm.
because they felt
Yes.
reached out to. They felt
Yeah.
heard, in that,
Mm.
and that really helped to move the group further. So I would say yes, finances, but we were able to overcome that by knowing our babes, because that was very
Mm.
important for us. Knowing the people, that not just seeing them as numbers that are
Yes.
added as numbers on the
Mm-hmm.
WhatsApp, putting the numbers, but
Exactly.
knowing them for who they are really
Yeah.
helped at the end of the day. And there were some people that jumped up to help. We had, key financiers for projects on the
Mm.
group, people that didn't
Yes.
even want to be named. They were anonymous. They would always
Mm.
to support the cause. I'm very grateful for those people,
Yes.
wherever they are right now, because they
Mm.
really helped to move the cause of BR forward during that time.
So,
And
wow.
then as an advisory board member and as the head
Yes.
of workforce today, I would say
Mm-hmm.
the main challenge for me was, initially getting into it was getting people to catch the vision, right?
Yeah.
Getting people to stay committed also to the vision that
Mm. Which is very
yeah,
important.
which
Yeah.
was
You don't
very
want to
exactly,
lose that. Yeah.
which is very important, right? And sharing the vision is something else, and then getting
Mm-hmm.
people, because just like somebody said on the same program.
Seems, yeah,
Yeah, that's we have lots of distractions these days. That's
yeah,
a lot of organizations,
mm,
churches that are doing the same thing that BR is doing. People are
that's right.
involved in much more things than
Hmm.
ever were involved before, right?
Yes.
So getting people to be committed, to
Mm,
spend time like attendance at
mm,
meetings, right?
yeah.
To be committed to what they have, signed up to do
Mm,
was really a challenge,
yeah.
and always a challenge at the
Mm,
end of the day, I would say. But I'm grateful for wisdom. I'm grateful for how God has led us so far, that we've not
yeah.
been able to, we've not lost our people. Our people,
Mm,
for all you can, no matter how it is, we still have like a sizable number of them committed to the vision and
that's
ready
right.
to take this to the next level, and not getting
Mm,
discouraged, because it's
yeah.
very easy to get discouraged,
Yes,
especially with all the distractions.
of course.
Yes, leaders would
Mm.
often complain to me that, oh, we post things on the group and members
If
and
you
members
don't
are
get
not even
response.
engaging, right? And members, and we've tried everything in the books to get the members to engage. And I
Mm,
always tell them this, that when you've tried everything, just turn to God.
mm,
God will always give you direction on the
mm,
next steps to take. And I think that is what has generally helped us in BR. We're not stuck at one strategy and saying, oh, this is
mm.
what
This
we
is
want to do.
yeah, this is what we're
Yes,
gonna do.
we're
Doesn't matter
always,
whether it's working.
thank you. We're always leaning on, and that comes from the top, even from
Mm,
chemo to the AB. We are always leaning on to God's directions for the next step.
yes.
And that is what has
Mm.
made us to survive all the tides till today. Thank
Wow.
you. Yeah,
Wow. Thank you so much. And I know that if I give you the floor, as you're just
I
talking, you'll probably
know.
be remembering a lot more. And that's just because obviously you've been part of the leadership and obviously the strategic, planning of the things that we needed to do and where we are as an organization. So yeah, thank you so much. And obviously listening to you, there has been challenges, obviously, but then we have overcome. And a few babes also attested to what you just said in terms of, people are at different stages, and the things are peculiar to where they are, whether you're out of Nigeria, and also the fact that there was the stages, of the norming forming, storming, because people are, and then I think gradually we came to that place where we can now say, all right, this is what we want to achieve. Everybody's gotten to know you've had a conflict, we resolve our conflict, and we want to achieve this vision and mission, and it's beautiful because without the leaders, staring, without listening to God, without the prayers, it would just be it would have been a fruitless effort, because then you can't just lead a group of women just by what you think or what you know. It's God, and we're thankful for the leadership, the PMO, and everybody who walk to God and say, okay, how do we do this? And even in your own zone or campuses, even as little as those tasks may seem, you still have moments where you have to go back and say, God, just help me with this, because any decision you make at that point is so critical, whether it makes or mars that group or people exit, or whether they stayed with the arrow. And I'm also very happy that, like you said, people that have saved, everybody has a role to play. Both the silent and some silent babies are doing something, but we don't, just because they are not as vocal or they don't have a personality to draw people to them, doesn't mean that they are not. And so, like I said, we need to make sure that we support it. So it's wonderful, and thank you for sharing some of those challenges with us. And how do you think Babes with a Fine has made a massive impact on his members and the wider community? Is there any stories or examples that stand out to you that you can remember?
Yeah, I would start with the story during my days as ZC in Kenya.
Mm,
I remember that we had the babes that was challenged in a marriage, right?
mm,
And she was in an abusive relationship, a really abusive relationship, and she was
yes.
going to lose her life. And I remember babes going all the way to make sure that she leaves that
Yes.
house, providing accommodation for her, ensuring that she's
Mm,
able to stay. She had a daughter, and ensuring that she's
mm,
able to stay away from that
yeah.
violence, standing up for her. And we were
Mm,
ready to go all the way, to stand up for her against
yeah.
the in laws, against people put that way, it was a really, it was an experience that I cannot forget. Our babes rallied around these babes, and she's a better person for it today. By God's grace, she's also in the UK. She's married again with other children. God has been so
beautiful.
life. And it took a lot of intervention from even senior babes in the house at that time. We call our senior babes grandmas. They were not grandmas, but it was a prophecy into their lives. And they took steps. They were not just talking. A lot of us will talk, in the group and advise and do this. They were not just talking, because for someone to successfully leave an abusive relationship without working, she wasn't working, she didn't have any idea, but she wasn't doing anything. It had to take moral, financial support, to get her on her feet again, right? So that experience for me was a wow experience of what babes can do and how babes can go all out of the way for other babes, right? To ensure that they're in a better place. So that's one. And then talking about outreach to our community, we've had so many during my time at ZC. I remember I was reaching out to secondary school, giving lectures on anti-drug, enforcement and all of that. Talking to young children about talking to young girls about the importance of keeping themselves, sharing sanitary pads, doing all of those, getting all out there. It was, it's been a very beautiful experience. In terms of the general Bihar, I would say it's also, being a big experience working at the national level as well, ensuring that those projects are delivered. Remember, like I said, at 10th anniversary, I was at the forefront of getting it all out there, working with Babes Dolapo to deliver the 10th anniversary, and it was a beautiful one. I like the fact that we had, we had babes contribute, giving their whole self to make that program a successful event. I remember all of us coming together, in person. I think that was the last in person
that you had, right?
That I actually witnessed, right? Yes, I think it was a 10th. If I'm not,
2020.
Yes, I left Nigeria in 2020, and it was I still have the that
memories.
Sisterhood. You could feel it in the house, that love and everything. I remember for that event alone, we had like 3 babes donate the anniversary cake free of charge.
Can you imagine?
Right? And babes, I just called on one of our babes in the cage, and I was like, we need the anniversary cake, and she was like, no, don't pay, you don't need to pay, it's BR, you don't need to pay anything. And she before then, she's consistently done that for like years. Anytime we need the anniversary cake, she would always come up and deliver it. I'm also proud to say that it was one of my Ikeja babes that also delivered the BR national anthem. Right?
Oh, wow, awesome! I'm sure they're listening.
I'm so proud of them. And another experience that I want to also share about our sisterhood is I remember getting to Canada during COVID.
Yeah, I was just going to say 2020 was the breakout.
Yes, it was a breakout. So I left in 2020, December 31st, and got to Canada January 1st, 2021. Right. So it was right in the midst of COVID. And my different. We had grandma, Audrey, and I remember their names now. These my babes, right? Babes, care, all these my babes. They just rallied around and they sent in cards. They sent in gift cards to me. I was wowed, right? I saw gift cards in the mail because, of course, they cannot come in visit. Anything because it was during COVID period. But I got just saying welcome to Canada. I was amazed at the love, and that's one thing about BR. Everywhere you get to. And since then, even in this Canada, I've had events, they've been there, I've been at their events, just knowing them as babes, that's the only foundation. And it's been such an exciting experience.
Wow.
since then. Yeah. So for me, that's been my experience in BR, and
Wonderful.
I can say that it's all been um, love, it's all
Mm.
been progress, it's all been impacts, visible
Yeah.
impacts in the lives of beings. Because when you see that those people that you've led, those people that
Mm.
um, you've oversee,
Yes.
you've been able to motivate them, inspire them, and they
Yeah.
are the better
Mhm.
for it today. That
Yeah.
motivates me. That's, I don't know, that's
That's
the
the
motivation
beauty.
for me. It's always,
Yes.
it's also joy for me today.
Absolutely. You feel fulfilled, isn't
Yes,
it?
it's
And
very,
I think for everyone who has
yeah.
made impact, you see other people thrive. And I think that's the beauty with BR right from the
Mhm.
onset. And I think everybody is able to express themselves. It's not just a
Yeah.
community where only certain group of people you come in, you're not even sure what you are or what you're supposed to do. That is what we help and shape. Yeah, you have this gift, you have this, I think PMO and the leaders, and we're going to come to that shortly. I'm very conscious of time because I really want to get a lot of you before we round up. So how was it like working with PMO?
Ah, in fact, I would say I'm so grateful for the opportunity that she's given me to work with her. Before becoming an advisory board member, I just knew her from afar and I just admired her. So it was more like we were
Yes.
just looking up to her and then drawing the things. I've learned
Mm.
humility, I've learned
Yeah.
leadership, I've learned how to be
Mm.
firm and
Yeah.
work in love at the
Mm.
same time, right? Because my training, because I've been in the corporate for a long time, it was, about
Yeah.
getting things done, right? You just need to get things done. You need to obey. So I find it very difficult, working with people that are not loyal to leaders, right? Because that's my training.
That's right.
But I learned, through PMO that
Mhm.
you can't force people to
That's
do things. You just have to understand them, right? And then work in love,
that's
right?
true.
Try to let them see the big picture at the end of the day. Let them
Mhm.
see the vision. And most importantly, working with her to the fact that she doesn't micromanage
Yes.
video because I'm so, right from when I was young, even my parents know I don't
Yeah.
like to be told what to do.
Mhm.
I would, not to be told
Yeah.
what, as in, I don't like to be told what to do and then managed along the way of, have you done it?
Yeah.
Just tell me what to do and out. And she's been
Mm.
so good in that regard. She just lets you express. She just gives the vision and
In
then just
your
lets you express it any way you want to do. And then she just checks you. Uh, she's really, 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 really helped.
mm.
Was working with her
Yes.
because of the trust that she has in us to deliver on what our tasks that
Mm.
we are given to do. And
Mm.
that has really
Yes.
motivated me working with that kind of person. I can imagine when you work with people that are always hounding you to say, have you
Mm.
done it? Have you
Yeah.
delivered it? It's crazy, right? But when you're working with someone
Mhm.
like Pimo, what you see is just the real Pimo. There's nothing
Mhm.
else behind it. She's
That's right.
forthright and
Absolutely.
she's always leading with love. And most importantly, that's one thing. She's always leading with love. And then the fact that she she's she's self-servicing her time. And that helps us that we're working with her to
Yeah.
know that you can't just walk in the flesh. You always have to walk in the spirit when it comes to
Mm.
being with people. You always have to walk in the spirit. And she doesn't kill anybody's ideas. She's like what somebody said. She has this. She's self-sufficient on her own use now. She's not intimidated by anybody, right? She has a
Yes.
very high
Yeah.
self-esteem.
Yes.
She's not intimidated by
Mm.
anybody, which is
Which is
very good. I like
really
to work
good.
with those kind of leaders because if you're working with
Yes.
people that are
You're
highly,
not threatened.
she's not threatened by anybody. She goes to do her thing, and she knows how to put the
I think
right
that's
people in the right
that's
places.
a
Yeah, she
special
has a way.
grace, if you might
Yeah.
say, because again, you
Yes.
could have a lot of
Yes.
people that you can work with, but you also got to be careful who you put in certain, because
True.
they can do it maybe they might not be available, but again, that grace and leading of the Lord to say, this is this person. And I think a lot of people, I'm sure you can say, those people that we've interviewed, all the babes, they'll say, how does people even know that I'm supposed to do this, or I'm going to be traveling, and the leader is coming to them and saying, I want you to do this. They personally too are confident of that. So again, it makes the work easy, right? You're not having somebody being put there grudgingly, I'm not sure, but people who come and they deliver, they do it and they own it. And I think we've seen that across even yourself and other babes. And I think that's what others follow as well, because when you set the pace, when you set the example, anybody who's coming, you can't do any less. There's a standard already, right? So it's either you step up, or you exit, and I think we've got to continually keep that, because we don't, and even in the way we deliver some of our programs, the head of program is being born, it's consistent with everybody, that the way they go about things, the way they pray, the structure, and how we put things. It's like we don't do things anyhow. I said the way we send some of our emails and stuff, it's professional, and you learn from that. Like you said, you come in, you've given us your expertise, your skill, and there's a lot, you could say about that. But thank you so much. It's heartwarming to hear. Thank you. And how has being in leadership influenced your personal life?
I would say, like I said earlier, being a leader was a training ground for me. It was a training ground. It was where I had to learn how to deal with different personalities, and I learned how to be a servant leader. Right? I told you about the example of someone saying, "Oh, ZT, you should have given it back to her." And I was like, if I give it back to the group, no,
what's
I'm
the
not
gain?
going to do that, right? So it's been a period of learning. Some things that I would not normally tolerate, right? Maybe at work, because it is BR, I would, take it in, suck it in, and still go back to the person, even if the person obviously has done something wrong. I still letting them know what they have done wrong, while at the same time showing love to the people.
That love, that word is
what binds us together, and staying on course, staying focused on the purpose of this vision, right? And enabling, helping people to see the big picture, why we're here. And and most importantly, not doing anything without God's direction. Because at the end of the day, this is God's venture. It is God that has called this forth, and it's God that will give us, the direction, the tools we need, everything we need to get it in place. So I think that has been most importantly helping me to develop strong relationships and foster teamwork among my team as well. Helping me also to understand people's emotions and try to use this for the benefit of the entire team.
Absolutely.
And I also learned problem solving skills, right? I've been able to identify, specific problem and
then how to be solutions.
Solutions towards them. Yes. So I want to cite a specific example. Like, so for me, I think I've shared this testimony before. I remember when I was interviewing for this role, and I had to talk about my experience as a manager, leading people, and all of that. The BR experience actually came into play during the interview, right? I did let them know that, I manage a group of more than 20,000 women spread across different campuses all over the world, in the US, in Nigeria, and I've been able to successfully manage the workforce of over 100 women, right? And that's of this. So I would always say, whatever you find your hand finds to do it well. Like I said, every promotion that I've gotten, I can tie it to the obedience and service, right? Not just in BR, in other places that I've been involved in. When God says serve, even when I feel that the resources at the moment, I trust God enough to provide it. And at the end of the day, God owes no man. I think that's what I always say. I always tell my leaders, God owes no man. Whatever you're doing it for yourself. Whatever you're doing in BR, you're actually doing it eventually for yourself. You're doing it for your family. You're doing it for your generation. You're doing it for your career. You're doing it for your marriage. And if you know that you are committed to it, because you know that God does not owe anybody.
Wow. Thank you so much. That's really profound. I think babes are listening tonight. In case you're feeling discouraged, I think you're hearing again that, just put, God does not owe anybody, but just put in your 100% as much as you can. Right. I think what advice would you give leaders or members who are looking to make meaningful contribution to PR? We're going to have in the coming years, probably, new leaders coming in, and those already leaders are probably moving on to something else. So what would you say to them tonight? And I'm sure a lot of people are listening.
I'll say first of all, stay focused on the vision. Be loyal to the vision, be loyal, be committed to what God has called you to, and stay in course to what God is saying, of course, through your leaders. And because the blessings will always come from the top to the bottom. It does not go from bottom to top. So always make sure that you're connected to what is happening here. Don't just be a babes by mouth. Don't just be, just a member of BR and you do not know what is going on. Stay on course, stay focused, stay committed, and don't be discouraged, by responses, by engagements, low engagements, and all that. Whoever God has called us to, God will provide those people and make sure that they are available. And the truth is, BR has made an impact on lives over the years. You can't just imagine. It is not by how much you can measure. It's not by how many babes say it. There are a lot of silent babes that have been impacted. You can't really understand how much impact you're making in the lives of babes by all of those frame your ear, value me, atmosphere. We need to know how many people join in and their lives are blessed, their lives are transformed, they are going from one level to the other. All because connected. Don't be here and let other babes that are not even a part of us or that are not even connected, they are now the ones getting, the opportunity, the advantage. You need to stay connected.
That's right.
So that's
awesome. Thank you for that, babes. Stay connected. How do you think Babes to Define can continue to grow? I'm sure, like I said, you've been in strategic position in Babes to Define. And I'm sure from the last few days as well, you've been listening to some interviews. I'm sure you would have, okay, what do we need to do going forward? And what role do you see the organization playing in the life of its members as we move forward?
Yeah, I think many babes have shared. I think one thing particularly I can say is building legacies, which is, the theme of our anniversary this year. We need to build legacies. We need to be committed to building the next generation and preparing them for the next phase.
Yeah, but sorry. Apologies. I must have just clicked the button.
Yes, no worries. So what I'm saying is we need to build legacy. We need to ensure, and when I say building legacy, like things like what we're doing, sharing our stories, putting our stories out there, letting people see what we have done, impacts that we have made, in past years, and then encouraging the next generation to take over from where we stopped. Because the truth is that we need to hand over the baton, allow the vision to die with us, and so that is left to every one of us, with daughters, children, nieces, to make sure that they are taking up this vision. I remember my daughter following me to the last the anniversary that we had for Canada.
Anniversary,
she had a beautiful time. She helped out, I remember fellow babes were like, you've brought up a very wonderful girl, and I was proud of her. And she was involved in, taking care of all, making sure that people are okay in terms of the catering, making sure that the event area was set up and all of that. If we start to do that, start to introduce them to the concept of BR, make sure that we are conscious about it, then we're building legacies.
Sure.
And the truth is that this one's the next generation will take it to the next level. It's not going to be like the way we did it. Because I remember that we used to call Facebook group then. There was a lot of shattering of tables, shattering of age-long beliefs. And I tell you, there's still some beliefs that will be shattered by the next generation. A lot of things. I see people posting, our daughter's experience of being on a driverless vehicle.
Driverless,
yes. And, those are some of those experiences that we didn't have, that this new next generation. So it's a new way of life, but the same BR vision of reaching out to the totality of a woman is going to be expressed in a different way, but we need to let them see it. We need to let them see that vision. We need to let them keep that vision so that we build that lasting legacy.
Thank you so much. And I think what you just said, these children, we're going to have, I don't know how old, I mean, I've got 15-year-old as well. And somehow you just think, oh God, add another 10 years, they're full-grown adults, and you want to know, how self-aware they are, their identity, and again, being able to stand in this world where so many things face women, the challenges they have, and being confident as a woman, and knowing yourself, knowing your worth, knowing what you are able to give it to your community. And I think that's also key. And I'm sure everybody's listening, and a lot of people also said the same, that whenever we're going to do, we need to start thinking of that. How do we reach them? And it would be the ones, maybe it's one of some of our children, okay, the girls, where do you meet your friends? What do you guys talk about? Babes should define it this. Let them start to gather themselves. Let the older women, like the Bible will say that the older women teach the younger children. Again, babes should define is the legacy that has been built. Then we could continue from there. So thank you so much for that, babes Dolapo. And obviously, the last but not least, looking off.
Must not be quantifiable. That is inquantifiable, right? The people we've reached out to, the lives that have been transformed by just being in contact with the Babes Redefined is numerous. The many people that we've had watered other people, and they themselves have been watered and returned. That's one thing I look back to, and I'm grateful to God for this enduring, legacy that God has set up. I am also grateful to God that Kimo, responded to that call, because if she did, we wouldn't all be here today. I'm also grateful for many endeavors that have been birthed through BR, that have been an offshoot of BR today, that are surviving, thriving, all because BR also started. So that's what I look back on, and I'm so grateful to God. I'm grateful for marriages, grateful for relationships that have come up, grateful for children that have been born. There was a time that we were just having reigns of children on the Kedra base that time, and I thank God for His faithfulness over the years. I look back and I'm grateful to God for every one of our lives, despite the fact that a lot of waters have passed under the bridge. We've lost some babes. We've lost some babes. They've gone to meet the Lord. We are comforted in the fact that even though their lives were, cut short, they lived a good life, right? A lot of them were involved in this house. They impacted this house. Even our leaders that also went to be with the Lord, they impacted this house, and everybody can still testify to the legacy that they had brought over the years. So I'm grateful for impact. That's all I can say. BR fulfilling its mission of reaching out to the totality of the woman in the last 15 years has been enormous.
Wow. Beautiful, beautiful, and very profound. Yeah, they said impact, and we're still seeing that even till now. I will continue to see that as the years go by, and God will continue to give grace, strength, wisdom to the leaders and everybody who is making sure that this. We could go on and on, but I'm very conscious of time. We're just 12 minutes above. So everyone watching tonight, please try and obviously join in or let us know your thoughts on reflections from what was shared tonight. If you're any of the Babes campuses, please share with others. Let them catch up on this. I would like to hear from you, and I would like to say and thank you for all your dedication over the years and giving of yourself to the vision. And we love you, and we do hope that even though you might be going to greater things, you're still forever going to be part of BR. So anyone BR is mentioned, be like, yeah, we know, all our founding members are, have been a part of us. So thank you so much. Evening, but thank you much, everybody, and I will come again. I think the next session is on Monday, I believe. So please do join us all of next week till 7 p.m. 7 p.m. See you on Monday. Thank you.